Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're eating some Skittles, boys. We are tasting the rainbow. Have a look at this particular team. Like, all limit break expanded, absolutely wild. But we are taking a SABO into the Forester Training Magnetic. So that was the team. Those are the supports. Let's dive in. Alright, bring it on, homeboy. Let's start at stage 11 against the Apu stage. Now, Apu gives us one turn of paralysis and one turn of slot blind. This particular team does not struggle with this forest at all. And obviously, there are a lot of replacements for you guys if you do want to actually try this team. This particular team is more of a showcase to sort of show off the power of a SABO, the amount of, like, viability they have when it comes to subs, and just show, like, characters that just can absolutely be, some absolutely broken characters. Chuck them all on the same team and just, like, flow through a forest ridiculously easy. And a SABO being a captain, they do that very, very well. Now, I have already done the Hawkins Forest on Japan. I am sort of looking at doing another Hawkins Forest run with a bit more like free-to-play friendly sort of team. A SABO are just that goddamn strong that, like, you can just do some absolutely wild things with a SABO, like, absolutely wild. But, as I mentioned in today's video, it's more of a showcase of the power that a SABO actually has, and the amount of, like, subs that you guys have access to. On stage 12, we come up against the Fire Tank Pirates, or Beej, Vito, and Grotty. On the first turn, you really want to make sure that you take out Beej, and then you can focus on the other two in the back. They don't do anything until stage 2, then they give you poison on the third turn. So you want to make sure you do take them out on the second turn. So we're using a SABO special here. Because we have a Luffy on the team with Luffy Sanji, we get 3 turns of that amazing 2.5 times orb boost. With all our switch abilities, we can just give ourselves some matching orbs, which is really, really nice. This whole team can actually get matching orbs, literally just with switch abilities, which is absolutely bonkers. So that makes their orb boost a lot more viable. A SABO also have an amazing super switch ability. The super switch is a new mechanic on Global, so if you guys aren't aware, what it does is it basically gives you a full board of orbs and a 2.25 times rainbow color affinity boost. Now, that is absolutely busted. Like, it's ridiculous how strong that actually is. Their switch ability gives you a 1.5 times color affinity boost anyway, but 2.25 is absolutely insane. A full board of orbs on top of, like, their amazing utility captain, and as you can see, with that 2.25 times color affinity, we can absolutely decimate that rogue stage. Having access to something like Shanks Crew and Vivi Rebecca as well, we can just switch with them every single turn. With our switch abilities, we can not only get an attack boost, we get a chain lock, and we get color affinity, so it works so damn nicely. Moving on to the next stage, we come up against Heat and, what's his name? I can't remember his name. I always forget this guy's name. I honestly can't remember. I know it's on Vixlo because I called him Vixlo in a different video, and my boy KroobyG did correct me, but, like, I cannot remember his name. But with this particular stage, we can get some matching orbs thanks to Shanks Crew. As long as you have Usahachi and Vivi Rebecca near Shanks Crew, that way you can easily get some orbs. If you guys don't have them there, you just got to be really careful about who you are when you actually use the Vivi Rebecca special on the rogue stage. Ideally, you want to be Rebecca. That way you have color affinity there as well. So you guys should be able to get that easy peasy. Once we kill Heat and the other kid pirate, we move on to the Killer stage. Now, Killer has a 5 turns of damage reduction, and he only lets you use one special, so he's a little bit annoying. But this is where Usahachi's an actual god. We can use the Usahachi special, and because we had our specials reverse on the previous turn, we can actually just use this stage to stall. Usahachi has the ability to reverse his special recharge by 2 turns, so that way you still have your special ready to go by this stage anyway. Easily take out Killer, and then we can move on to the next stage against Big Mom. With a SABO, their amazing captain ability, basically what they do is, as SABO, you get 10 turns of special blind removal, and as Ace, you get 10 turns of despair removal. So you have a lot of utility in their captain. If you hit perfects, you get a lot of healing. So this team not only has a lot of power, but has a lot of healing. Has a very good ship with the Liberal Hind, because we are running pretty much a whole free spirit team, which works nicely, as well as having a lot of utility. With a SABO special, now on this stage, you need to make sure that one of your A SABOs doesn't get blinded, otherwise you will be up for a bad time. But with a SABO special ability, you can not only remove blind, despair, and special blind, but you can also get a full board of orbs, they rotate block orbs, as well as an orb boost. If you combine that with their super switch, you can always give yourself a full board of orbs no matter what, which is just absolutely wild. You can get an amazing orb boost, you have utility, and you have healing. They just basically do everything. Now, ideally, you don't really need 2 of them, but it works really nicely to have 2, because that way you get the despair removal, as well as the special blind removal. If you guys know the content, you can sort of, like, time that. But if you also pair this up with stuff like Shanks Crew, Vivi Rebecca, and Luffy Sanji, you can give yourself, like, utility on switches. You can give yourself an attack boost on switches, chain lock on switches. Bit of a blunder there, apologies about that. But you can also give yourself utility, attack boost, and chain lock when it comes to switching, as well as color affinity. It's just, this team literally just does everything. Usahachi obviously is just here pretty much for that Killer stage. Usohachi is really good too, because Usohachi can remove the defense up with the Kona special. But you could just like stall out for or actually, could you stall out for the Vivi Rebecca special? You could probably use the no, you can't use the Lucy support because of that. But once we hit the next stage anyway, you really, like, for this team to function, we kind of need Konus, I guess. Once we get to the next stage against... No, I guess you could use... No, you can't. Yeah, you kind of need Konus. Once we get to the stage against Basil Hawkins, X-Drake, and Page 1, we really want to make sure on the first turn that we take out Basil Hawkins. So we use a Shanks Crew special there to get the 3.5 times chain lock, and then we're going to focus on taking out Page 1 on the next turn, and then we're going to take out X-Drake on the third turn. That way we can just get a little bit of stalling in. They don't do too much damage compared to what King can do on the next stage, so it actually just works really, really nicely. Now, ideally, before you move into the King stage, you need to make sure that one of your captains is Ace. When you move into the King stage, it gives you Despair, but if you have Ace as your captain, you don't have to worry about that, and it works really, really nicely. Utilizing Luffy Sanji's switch ability as well is going to give us a lot of healing as well, but as you guys can see, with the perfects that Ace SABO provides, you guys just get a lot of healing back anyway, and these guys are an absolute forest killer. Like, it's ridiculous what they do just literally with their captains. You can deck the team out with, like, the utility for the forest, and then you can also just bring characters that are ridiculously overpowered, stuff like Shanks Crew, Luffy Sanji, like... They're just absolute weapons. On the King stage, he puts up 3 turns of damage reduction and threshold. And then every turn after the first turn, he puts up a orb barrier. He starts as quick, and then he moves on to int, and then he goes dex, strength, psi. It's very easy to manipulate our orbs with this particular team, namely because we have the super switch of SABO and Ace. We have the switch of Shanks Crew, as well as their switch abilities of the regular SABO and Ace as well, and that way we can pretty much guarantee ourselves all a bunch of orbs besides the int orb. It's not that big of a deal though. We still actually have Barrier Pen, which I should have taken advantage of there, but Ace SABO both have Barrier Pen, as well as Usohachi having Barrier Pen, so you can take advantage of that as well. As you guys will see here though, we are just going to sort of stall out on this King stage until we hit the Psi barrier. That way we can not only just get our specials back. You don't really need to stall out that much here. Like, if you want to stall out to get the Shanks Crew special back, that's pretty much what we're doing. But you don't really need to, I guess, because you do have the switch ability of Vivi Rebecca. I don't even think do I even use the Shanks Crew? I can't even remember. I did this, like, last night? I think I did it last night. And, I've just had a lot on since then. And there's been a lot going on both sides of the game, so, like, I've been recording so many goddamn videos, but I hope you guys have been enjoying them anyway. If you have, make sure to smash the like button. If you're new, hit that big red subscribe button too. But once we get down to the crux of this King stage, he gives us that Strength Orb on that 5th turn. And every single turn here, we will just be trying to output a lot of damage. If you guys struggle to get orbs, or if you stuff it up, your switches and whatnot, just make sure that you either reload the game, but just be mindful if you reload the game, King's Orb Barrier will actually go back to the previous turn. So he'll turn back to, I think it was what, Dex, if we reloaded the game there. But you can take advantage of your Barrier Pen, and ideally every single turn I would try and hit as many perfects as possible. That way you can actually just heal back, as Ace SABO provide a lot of healing when it does come to those when it comes to those perfect shots. Once King puts up the Psi barrier, this is basically when we're going to take him down. At this point, you should have the super switch of SABO and Ace, and that way you can guarantee yourself an orb, a Psi orb, I should say, on your Shanks Crew or on your Luffy Sanji, obviously in your Sanji variation. Ideally, you want to put it on Shanks Crew though. That way you can have an extra color affinity, and as you can see there, we can just easily take out that stage, no issues whatsoever. Once we move on to the Kaido stage, however, the first turn he's going to be immune to Psi damage. He gives us 10 turns of only letting us use 2 specials, and then on the second turn he's going to give us a nasty burn. Now, on this first turn, we're just going to try and output as much damage as we possibly can. You're not really going to do too much, even with the switch, all our switch abilities actives. Like, we have an attack boost, we have color affinity, but unfortunately we can't attack with color affinity. We have a chain lock, and it works really, really nicely. So we can actually output, like, a fair decent chunk of damage to Kaido. But once we hit the next turn, he has actually going to put up that burn. Now, that burn is pretty chunky. It is going to do a lot of damage, and because we are using the Aura Jackson, it means that we're probably going to be struggling to not hit our perfects. On this particular turn, we're going to switch with Shanks Crew and use the Shanks Crew special. That way we can get that 3.5 times chain lock, and then we can switch with our SABO and Ace to give ourselves that massive 2.25 times color affinity boost, as well as having color affinity with Luffy Sanji, as well as Shanks Crew as well. And with that, like, we have a cheeky little attack boost, we have a massive color affinity boost, and we have a massive chain lock. And with that, like, Bob's your uncle, Kaido's just going to get absolutely melted. Don't be afraid to hit a perfect if you need to. You really just need to hit it good first, and then you can, like, hit with your Luffy Sanji, or you can hit with your Shanks Crew. But I always like to practice on this stage, like, hitting goods and greats, because a lot of forest videos, like, you still need these powerful ships, and even though, like, they have amazing effects, they can bite you in the ass sometimes, especially when it comes to burn and hitting perfects. Moving on to the final stage against Kid. Kid's going to give us a full board of block orbs. And we still have the burn. We still have the 2 turns of specials only. So what we can do here is we can switch into our strength units. We can use the special of SABO and Ace to give ourselves a 2.5 times orb. But you can easily use the one of their specials on the Kaido stage. I just wanted to show how much damage this particular team has on the final stage, even without its true maximum potential. I really wish I showcased the Ace SABO special. But look, it is what it is. So as you can see there, like, even without the full 5 times of 5 times Rainbow Captain, we still have enough damage to absolutely decimate Kid. So that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me. As I mentioned, there will also be a link to the Hawkins video down there as well. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Let's